Hello friends, welcome to Chhuti presents Escape into Audio Stories in English. Today we'll read a story named One Bonfire Night, written by Enid Blyton. This has been taken from a collection of 30 stories, Tales of Tricks and Treats by Enid Blyton. Enid Mary Blyton was an English children's writer whose books had been the bestseller from 1930s, and her books have sold over 600 million copies and have been translated into other languages more than any other children's author. Enid Blyton adored writing for children. She wrote over 700 books and about 2,000 short stories. The famous 5 books, now 75 years old, are her most popular. She is also the author of other favorites including The Secret Seven, The Magic Faraway Tree, Mallory Towers and Noddy. Born in London in 1897, Enid lived much of her life in Buckinghamshire and loved dogs, gardening and the countryside. She was very knowledgeable about trees, flowers, birds and animals. Dorset, where some of the famous 5's adventures are set, was a favorite place to her too. One Bonfire Night by Enid Blyton. The little folk in the village of Tic-Tac were most excited. For the first time in their lives, they were going to have fireworks on Bonfire Night. "Imagine it, fireworks," said Cherry One. "Rockets that fly up to the clouds and then burst into little stars. Squibs that will jump round Old Man Grumpy's feet," said Tricky. "Wheels of fire that go round and round spitting flames all the time," said Jinky. "What fun we will have," said Tippy. "And, oh, the noise, the lovely bangs, the big whooshes, the splutterings, the sizzlings and cracklings. We'll have to remember to keep our dogs indoors," said Cherry One. "My little dog doesn't like bangs. He would go mad with fright if I left him outside." "The same with my cat," said Jinky. "She hates even a spark to jump out of the fire. I simply don't know what she would do if a rocket went off near her. I shall keep her indoors and tell her to look for mice. And I will go my pony, Whitefoot, out of the field and put him into a shed," said Tippy. "I wouldn't want him to gallop away and never come back. Don't you think we ought to send out the bellman with his bell, or warn everyone in the village to keep their animals indoors on Bonfire Night?" said Cherry One anxiously. "You see, we have never had fireworks before, and people might not think of their cats and dogs and ponies." "Yes, I will go and see the bellman," said Jinky. "And we'll put a big notice up on the wall too." Away he went, and soon the bellman was walking through the village, ringing his bell loudly. Then, when people ran around him to see what was the matter, he stood still and shouted in his biggest, deepest voice, "Hear what I say, people of Tic-Tac village. On Tuesday night there will be a grand firework display with bangs and crashes, flames and fire. Keep your animals indoors for kindness' sake on Bonfire Night." A big notice was put up on the wall too, and everyone read it. Old Witch Green Eyes heard the bellman's bell ringing as he went up and down the village, and she looked crossly out of their window. "Stop that noise," she cried. I am making a powerful spell with Cinders, my black cat, and you are upsetting it. The magic won't come. Stop that noise, I say." But the bellman didn't stop, and he went on shouting out the message at the top of his voice. "What's that?" he says. "Keep our cats and dogs in on Tuesday night?" said Witch Green Eyes. "Just because of fireworks? I never heard of such a silly idea in my life. Pampering our animals like that, shutting them up, putting them in closed rooms. What are we coming to? Fussing about animals? As if they couldn't look after themselves. I shan't do anything of that sort. My cat Cinders can look after herself perfectly well. All this fuss and bother. You'd better keep your cats indoors all the same," said Tricky, who was nearby. "Cinders is a good little worker for you and helps you with all kinds of magic spells. Out of kindness, you should keep her from the bangs and crashes and whooshes and flashes." "I will turn you into a cat yourself if you dare to tell me what to do," said the witch. And that made Tricky run off at top speed. Well, when Bonfire night came, the cats and the dogs of Tic Tac village were most surprised to find that they were taken indoors. Dogs were taken out of their kennels. Whitefoot the pony was led from his fill to a shed. Cats were called indoors and made comfortable by the fire, or told to listen for mice. But old Witch Green Eyes wasn't going to fuss over Cinders, her cat. When Cinders ran out into the garden, just as it got dark, she shut the doors on her as usual. So when the fireworks began, Cinders was out all alone in the dark, sitting patiently beside a rat hole. Crash! That was a firework exploding, the first one of all. Cinders almost jumped out of her skin. Bang, bang, whoosh! That was a very big rocket set off by Tricky. 3 gardens away, Cinders tried her hardest to squeeze down the rat hole, shaking with fright. Sizzle, crackle, bong, bong. Goodness knows what that was. But the noise and the sudden glare so terrified poor Cinders that she gave a great yawl, leaped over the wall, and disappeared down the road at 60 miles an hour. And when Bonfire night was over and all the fireworks were finished, old Witch Green Eyes opened her window, calling to Cinders as usual. "Cinders, Cinders, come along into the nice warm fire. I want you to help me with a new spell." But no Cinders came leaping up to the windowsill. No big black cat came purring to Witch Green Eyes to help her with the strange new spell. Cinders was miles away, still terrified, trembling from head to foot, her bright green eyes staring in a fright. Her feet were sore with running for miles, and she was hungry, thirsty, and so tired that at last she fell down on a doorstep and could not move. And there she was found by a small girl called Alice, who loved all animals but had no pet of her own. Alice carried Cinders indoors and petted her and gave her some warm milk. Her mother stared at the cat in surprise. What a fine cat! And what wonderful bright green eyes! Anyone would have said she was a witch's cat to look at her. Poor thing! Whoever owned her should have shut their indoors on Bonfire night. "I want her," said Alice. "If she doesn't go back home, I want her, Mother. She's a wonderful cat. I'm sure she knows magic. Cinders didn't mean to go back to Tic Tac village. She remembered the bangs and crashes and glares, and she trembled. She loved kind little Alice. She liked not having to work so hard at magic spells, and soon forgot most of them. But she didn't forget one special bit of magic. Cinders knew a good luck spell, and whenever Alice was feeling sad and needed cheering up, Cinders disappeared into the garden, and there, behind some bushes, she made a small good luck spell for the little girl. No wonder Alice said that black cats were lucky. Cinders certainly brought plenty of luck for her. And when the next bonfire night came, Cinders didn't mind a bit. She lay cuddled warmly on Alice's lap and was stroked and petted. Who cared about bangs and crashes outdoors then? Not Cinders. As for old Witch Green Eyes, she missed her black cat terribly, because now she couldn't make her half the magic she needed. But nobody was sorry for her. I am not either. She should have looked after Cinders on bonfire night, just as you and I look after our pets. Don't you think so?